is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports. We're delighted to be joined with the one and only Jason Quigley. Jason, obviously, I guess everybody's sort of just seen the announcements there this morning. Boxing's returning to Letterkenny for the first time in 13 years. Probably, I guess, in some ways, probably people maybe wanted you to be on the card, but it doesn't look at this stage that you're going to be on the card. Is it completely ruled out that you'll not be appearing on the card?
Yeah, I think that this just isn't the right time now for me to be headlining the show here in Donegal. I'm passionate about bringing boxing back to Donegal, and that's why I'm involved now in promoting this show, managing the fighters on the show, and 13 years since there's been a show in Donegal, and we're bringing it back now, and I'm excited. I'm passionate about this because obviously this is where I'm from, where I grew up, and I'm excited to bring big boxing back to Donegal again.
Does it sort of? I know obviously when you had obviously your first Irish fight, obviously this year as well. Obviously, it's hard to believe it wasn't that long ago in Dublin, but is it sort of hurting you a wee bit that sort of you're not appearing on this card? Sort of, I guess when you're sort of managing both ways and fighting and obviously managing fighters, would you love to have been on the card? Obviously, or I guess it's just the stage you are in your career now. Obviously, you want to get big fights, so probably it was getting a big name to come to Letterkenny is probably going to be the issue for you.
Yeah, I think that the time to headline a show here and isn't right now. Do you know what I mean? So like I'm heavily involved in this show right now and the promoting side of it and running the show, like getting the fighters on the show, all this. So it's very exciting. Do you know what I mean? That it's not as if that just because I'm not on the card doesn't mean that I'm sitting in the background, not a part of it at all. Like it's something that I'm creating along with a team to make professional boxing make a scene again back here in Donegal.
I guess you can probably enjoy it a bit more as well. Obviously, sometimes when you're fighting, it's hard to enjoy the atmosphere, but obviously bringing through what we probably say is a sort of next generation sort of Irish fighters. Joe Ward, obviously his first fight at home. You can always say in the future, I was a guy that obviously helped to bring Joe Ward back to Ireland as a professional.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's all about the fighters. It's about the fighters keeping them active, keeping them busy, helping them to achieve what they want to achieve in the sport and what they've set out to achieve in the sport, because boxing can be a very tricky sport, can be a very tricky journey, and staying active, staying competitive, and continuously climbing that ladder. Like a lot of boxers get stuck at a certain stage of the ladder and can't get off it for other reasons of inactivity, maybe injuries, shows just not happening, and different reasons that come along. But I think that this is a very important stage now, and it's something that I'm passionate about because I know what boxers go through leading up to fights and in their career, and I want to be the person that really helps them now to excel in the difficult sport that they have chosen to do with their life. So it is very exciting for me to bring Joe Ward back here. We're working really closely with his team, Lou DiBella, over in the States, and they're delighted to have him here. They've wanted him back in Ireland, so it's great to have him here. And as I says, look, it's all about working together with everybody in boxing and making these fighters' dreams come true, making these fighters get the opportunities that they deserve, all the hard work in the gym, all the injuries, all the setbacks, all the knockbacks. It's about now getting momentum going in Irish boxing, and yeah, we're looking to kick that off now up here in Donegal. And this isn't just a show that we're running here now in November. I plan to be an event that be held more than 2, 3, 4 times a year here in Donegal. I'm looking to hold this event up here in Donegal now and continue to grow the event and bring in bigger fighters, bigger events, bigger title fights back here to Letterkenny as well.
And obviously, when you're sort of touching there on Irish boxing, this is a 15th fight card that's been announced. Obviously, we've had a couple of fallbacks, obviously, with the Common Boxing Show and obviously yourselves in the National Stadium. Do you think of obviously 2023 for you to have a homecoming show? Katie, to obviously fight twice. Michael Conlon, obviously, having a world title fight in Belfast, Cork, in Waterford, Letterkenny. I don't think we've always probably seen so much of a layout sort of that north and south that have been cards and places that people probably would never imagine before. Is this a sort of blueprint where you're sort of saying Letterkenny becoming a regular thing? Maybe the plan, probably like they do in Belfast, obviously with Fela, maybe an outdoor show in Letterkenny next summer.
Uh, it's very difficult to plan an outdoor show in Ireland any time of year. Like I don't know if I'd be going down that road, but we're definitely looking to host an event here in Donegal a couple of times a year and have it as an event that people are coming to and people are waiting to happen each year. That they're going to buy tickets and they're going to come to it for the event, and then the fighters that are on the event are going to be the ones that put on the show for us. So it's exciting times. Look, Irish boxing is thriving at the minute. There's so many people doing things now in the professional game. We have Tommy Hyde, who's headlining his show, I think, this weekend now down in Cork. We have Jay Byrne, who stepped into the boxing side of things as well with his management and putting on shows, and obviously Conlon Boxing and ourselves and everybody that is part of it. I think that it's important that we all get together and we all work together and that we all make good Celtic title fights, Irish title fights. Let the champions go on and fight for those European title fights and fight for those world title fights and bring those fights back here to Ireland as well. Not always having to be searching and taking them away to England and America. And Eddie Hearn said something in an interview there. I think it was this week that boxing needs Katie Taylor in Ireland, to host the big shows. And yes, that might be right. That might be correct now at the minute. But I hope that this is the groundwork now that we're putting in that will grow champions from the roots, old school way of growing up from where you're from, fighting locally, having that and building that fan base and carrying that around the country and around the world with you. Having those followers follow you, but bringing everything back to your roots and possibly having those big fights in Ireland in the future.
Very much so. Obviously, the small hall scene, obviously, no matter where you are, sort of nowadays. And I know in England, a lot of the York Hall cards and the smaller cards get ridiculed, but that's how you build, obviously, the next Katie Taylor, the next Michael Conlon, the next Jason Quigley, is by getting them local fights, getting the fans to support them. So that we always see these clips coming up saying, don't support me when I get to the big time, support me from the start, because that's when the support's needed the most. Hopefully, obviously, with Letterkenny, obviously, with it being 13 years, that people obviously haven't forgot about boxing, obviously, in the area, because, when we look at the card, and probably the one you're probably the most delighted with, James McGivern, obviously, 2 years now, obviously signed. This is the third time around, obviously, now trying to get him a title fight. He probably thought it was never going to come, but he's obviously going to fight an unbeaten Scottishman, Josh Sanford, for the Celtic title on the card.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this one. I'm delighted for James McGivern, because from the moment that I signed James, he wanted a title fight, and right off the bat, we got him a fight just to break that ring rust off him over in LA. Great experience fighting over in the States. And then we brought him back to Ireland then to get his Celtic title fight. And he was, as we all know, scheduled a few times to fight for it. And things outside of our control wouldn't let that happen, and fights fell through for him. So now we have this one. I think everything happens for a reason, and I think that this is going to make it even more sweeter for James. Fighting for this title and fingers crossed lifting that title above his head on November 18th. He's fighting, yes, another undefeated fighter in Josh Sanford, a Scottish lad. We made this fight happen maybe a week or two ago. Very grateful to be working alongside his team as manager at St Andrews Sporting Club, Ian Wilson. met Josh Stanford's coach as well over at a show recently in Scotland. We had a talk about the fight. Says it'd be a great fight for both fighters. Let's get it made for a Celtic title, and there you go. We have it made for a Celtic title, and the BUI have been working brilliant with us as well on making things very easy to access these titles and very easy to make these matches and get that Celtic title up in stature and bring the fighters up in stature as well.
It's, I guess, obviously when James is obviously knowing that fights and stuff's falling through and things like that, does this sort of make things easier now in conversations you have with him, where he's going, get me a title fight, where he can sort of now relax, now knowing that you're delivering for him, because that's your job. You always have to deliver for the fighter. So now when you're giving him an opportunity like that, others can know that they're going to get the same opportunity if they have the same buy-in with you.
Yeah, well, like as a manager and a promoter now, like as well, that I'm very open and honest with the fighters. There's nothing that I keep from them or hide from them. The fighters know that I'm doing my absolute best for them, and I'm a straight shooter. I'm honest. I'm straight out with things, and if fights happen, they happen. If they don't, they don't. But all I can do is get the fights made, and if they don't come through, that's out of my control, and my fighters understand that. I'm putting in the groundwork and making these opportunities happen for them, which is the most important thing. And yeah, it's up to me to deliver for them. And then when I deliver for them, the full stop at the sentence is them delivering for me then and lifting the title above their head.
Do you feel that extra pressure probably more so as obviously as a promoter and a manager now, that obviously that where before when you're in camp and everything else it's all about you, whereas everything you're now doing is on other people? Do you feel that added probably more pressure to deliver in this way than obviously deliver for fans when you're fighting?
Yeah, of course there's pressure and you've always I think it's always a wee bit more difficult to deliver for somebody else than deliver for yourself. But when the way that I am is that I do the absolute best that I can. And each night going to my bed, I know that I'm doing the best that I can for my fighter. So I don't worry too much or I don't let things get me down too much because I know that I'm doing my best. And if I can do my best, I know that's all anybody can do. And that's what I want my fighters to understand. And I want my fighters to know as well that I'm doing my best for them. And they know it's a tricky old game, this boxing scene. And there's always moving parts. So as long as the fighters are aware of that and understand that, then we have a great relationship moving forward.
I guess obviously probably some people's concerns is where people can maybe make a card in Letterkenny, obviously from where maybe they are in different parts of the country. Is there obviously speaking with Mark Dunlop yesterday, obviously he was saying that TG4 in particular are obviously revitalising their budget for next year and they're going to be hosting more cards and trying to get involved in boxing more, which is the one thing we probably missed the most when boxing's thriving so much. Get people the publicity on TV. Is there any plans for the card to be streamed anywhere? Obviously, I know your last card was obviously streamed online. Is it still something that's in the works?
Yeah, it's still things that are in the works. We're working on two or three very exciting things as well. But it is definitely going to be streamed online. That's going to be a fact. But yeah, we're definitely working on two or three other exciting things as well, and hopefully we'll get it over the line before November 18th.
And obviously, finally, then probably because I don't want to keep you too long, obviously ticket pricing. What will ticket pricing be like for the show? Is it probably similar to what was going to be on the Dublin card last month?
Um, I can't actually remember the prices of the Dublin card last month, but no, it's going to be very, very reasonably priced. Do you know what I mean? There'll be no tickets over €100, and I think we could be looking at maybe €35 for the cheapest ticket. So yeah, it's going to be very reasonably priced for the fans and for the young ones out there to get out there and experience a great night.
I guess obviously finally then obviously why sort of people should get out. Obviously, I guess it's the first show in Letterkenny in 13 years. There's probably not a lot of local talent. Probably I think Brett McGinty's injured at the moment. You probably correct me there. Brett's injured, so that's obviously why he's not appearing on the card.
Yeah, that's correct. It's Brentwood, obviously, it's something that I'm sure that he'd have wanted from day one, turning professional to fight just a couple of miles down the road from where he lives. But this is the sport that we're in. This is boxing. Sometimes injuries come along and takes you in a different path. So you just have to trust the journey. And yeah, look, Brett's very young, and it's most important that he heals up and he recovers 100%. First off, he's not in his mid-30s, and looking for one last crack at the whip. Like Brett's he's a young fighter, and the most important thing is Brett taking his time and healing up well, and then he can go again and possibly headline big shows here in the future.
I guess when he knows what, when he's watching this, or obviously conversations you've had, and he knows that it's a regular thing, that obviously help his recovery from injury, and obviously, let's say, get him ready to headline the next one.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be great for him to see the show and understand that this is something that's going to be happening hopefully very regularly here close to him. And if so, then it's going to be great for him to give him that wee bit of bite, that wee bit of appetite to keep her lit in and get back into the ring again. But we'll see what happens now. We'll just keep the head down, keep working away, keep plugging away, and get ready to rumble.
Definitely. Well, listen, obviously, thank you very much for obviously coming on today and obviously having a chat with it. Obviously, it's just, 4 weeks? Well, sorry, 6 weeks, I think. 6 weeks this Saturday. Obviously, tickets are now available for obviously anybody that wants to get involved through elitesportspromotions.co.uk or something. I think the link is obviously, but tickets are now.
Tickets will be up hopefully in the next week and a half. We'll have tickets on sale, and everything will be on my social media, Elite social media, Sheer Sports social media. It'll be blasted out everywhere, and we'll send all the details over to yourself as well to send everything out as well.
Yes, no, listen, thanks very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Nice one, lad. Cheers. Thanks for having me.